"Hey, it's me." Or, well, it's the thoughts you didn't know you needed to hear, bubbling up to the surface, ready to have a little chat. Sit down for a second, all right, just for a bit. Let's breathe together for a moment. A deep breath in, hold it and exhale slowly. Good, one more, deep breath in. Feel that oxygen reaching all the little corners, hold it, and exhale. Let it all out. Nice. One more for good measure, deep breath in, filling up your chest, holding it there, and releasing it. Gently. Feel that little bit of calm settle in. Maybe just a tiny corner of it, right? That's a start. That's always a start. Because life, right? It just keeps coming at you, doesn't it? It throws things at you. Curveballs, fastballs, sometimes it just chucks a brick at your head when you weren't even looking. And it's a lot. It really is a lot sometimes. Maybe you're feeling a bit lost, like you're adrift in a sea of stuff, of obligations, of expectations, of things you should be doing or things you should be feeling. Maybe you're comparing yourself, probably unfairly, to literally everyone else you see online, or even just walking down the street. They look like they've got it all figured out, don't they? They're cruising. They're confident. They're probably happy. And here you are, wading through the mud, wondering if you took a wrong turn about 5 miles back. You might feel like an imposter, waiting to be found out. Like you're not really capable, not really smart enough, not really anything enough. And the noise inside your head, oh man, the noise. It's constant, a loop of worries, of doubts, of analyzing that thing you said 5 years ago that still makes you cringe. And on top of that, there's the big stuff, the meaning of life stuff. Why are you even doing all this? What's the point? Is there a grand plan, or are we all just here, bumping into each other, trying to figure it out as we go? Do you ever feel like you're just going through the motions, like you're performing a role, but you can't quite remember your lines, or why you were cast in this play in the first place? That's okay, you know. It really is. A lot of us feel that way. More than you might think. It's a part of the human experience, wrestling with these questions. Wrestling with the messiness of it all. We are, after all, pattern-seeking creatures, aren't we? We desperately want things to make sense. We want a narrative, a clean storyline with a clear beginning, middle, and a satisfying end. But life is less of a perfectly structured novel and more of a wild, sprawling, collaboratively written mess, full of typos, contradictory plot points, and chapters that just end abruptly. And accepting that, truly accepting that, is maybe the first, hardest step towards finding a different kind of peace. Not the peace of having all the answers, but the peace of being okay with having a lot of questions. Let's talk about that feeling of being adrift for a moment, that lack of purpose. Sometimes we put this immense pressure on ourselves to find our one true calling, right? Our destiny. As if it's a buried treasure map hidden somewhere, and we just need to dig hard enough. What if it's not a singular thing waiting to be found? What if purpose is something you build, little by little, day by day? It's in the small acts of kindness, in the dedication to learning something new, in the quiet satisfaction of doing a job well, even if it's not your dream job. It's in showing up for the people you care about, and importantly, for yourself. Purpose can be dynamic, changing as you change. It doesn't have to be this monumental, life-altering revelation. It can be found in connection. It can be found in contribution. It can be found in simply engaging deeply with the world around you. Speaking of engaging, let's shift gears a little. Let's talk about your internal world, the thoughts and feelings swirling around. It can feel like a storm in there sometimes, can't it? Especially when those negative thoughts take hold. You know the ones. I'm not good enough. I always mess this up. What will people think? They loop, they amplify, they whisper doubts and shout insecurities, and we tend to believe them. We treat them as gospel truth instead of just thoughts, because that's what they are. They are just thoughts. They aren't facts inscribed in stone. They are transient electrical and chemical signals zipping around in your brain. They are interpretations, often skewed, of reality. This is where a little bit of, let's call it mental housekeeping, comes in. You don't have to believe every thought that pops into your head. Think of your mind as a river, right? Thoughts are like leaves floating down that river. Some leaves are beautiful, some are muddy, some have sharp edges. You can stand on the bank and watch them float by. You don't have to jump into the river and grab onto every single leaf. You can observe them. Oh, look, there's a thought about how I should have said something differently. There's a thought about being worried about the future. There's a thought comparing myself to someone else. You just notice them. You don't judge them or yourself for having them. You just see them and let them float on by. This isn't about clearing your mind entirely. That's usually impossible and, frankly, unnecessary. It's about changing your relationship to your thoughts, from identifying with them to simply observing them. That act of observation, of simply being present, is a cornerstone of mindfulness. And mindfulness isn't about some mystical state of perpetual bliss. It's a practice. It's training your attention. It's about noticing what's happening right now, in your body, in your environment, in your mind, without judgment. It's about noticing the taste of your coffee, the feeling of the chair beneath you, the sound of the traffic outside, the feeling of your breath entering and leaving your body. It's about grounding yourself in the present moment, which is, really, the only moment you ever actually have. The past is memory. The future is imagination. Now, this breath, this feeling, this sight, that's where life is actually happening. And when you practice mindfulness, even just for a few minutes a day, maybe while brushing your teeth, or walking to the bus stop, or eating a meal, you start to create a little bit of space between you and those swirling thoughts and intense emotions. That space, that tiny gap, is where your freedom lies. It's where you can choose your response instead of just reacting on autopilot. It's where you can notice the worry, acknowledge it, and choose not to let it hijack your entire day. It's hard. Absolutely, it is hard. It's like trying to herd cats sometimes. Your mind will wander. That's okay. Just gently guide it back. Again and again. That gentle returning is the practice. There's no failing at mindfulness, only opportunities to begin again. This idea of control, or rather, what we can and cannot control, is actually pretty fundamental to a lot of ancient wisdom. Think about the Stoics, for instance. Guys like Epictetus or Marcus Aurelius. They weren't about suppressing emotions or being unemotional robots. Far from it. They were about focusing their energy on the things within their sphere of influence and letting go of the things outside of it. What can you control? Your thoughts, your judgments about things, your intentions, your actions, your effort. What can't you control? Other people's opinions of you, the weather, the economy, the past, the future, not completely anyway, random events, illness. Trying to control things you cannot control is a recipe for frustration, anxiety, and suffering. It's like trying to push a rope. You just expend a ton of energy and get nowhere. Stoicism encourages you to ruthlessly examine situations and ask, is this within my control? If it is, great, act on it. Do your best. If it isn't, well, worrying about it won't change the outcome. The only thing you can control is your response to it. Can you accept it? Can you learn from it? Can you adjust your actions going forward? That focus on the internal, on managing your reactions and your character, rather than trying to manipulate the external world to fit your desires, is incredibly powerful. It grounds you. It builds resilience. It shifts you from being a victim of circumstance to being the agent of your own inner life. Now, this isn't just abstract philosophy, is it? This plays out in our daily lives constantly. Someone cuts you off in traffic. You can't control their driving. You can control whether you scream expletives or sigh and move on. Your boss gives you negative feedback. You can't control their assessment fully, but you can control how you receive that feedback, whether you get defensive or seek to understand and improve. A plan falls apart. You can't control the circumstances that caused it to fall apart, but you can control how you pivot, how you learn, how you manage your disappointment. This shift in perspective, from trying to control everything to mastering your internal response, that's transformative. It's freedom, really. It connects, too, with the idea of responsibility. We are responsible for our reactions. We are responsible for our efforts. We are responsible for building the life we want, even within constraints we didn't choose. It's not about blame, it's about agency. It's about recognizing where your power actually lies, and your power is immense, within the realm of the internal. Your perspective, your mindset, your character, these are entirely yours to cultivate. And they are far more stable sources of well-being than chasing external validation or trying to force the world to be exactly how you want it. Speaking of chasing external validation, let's dive into that. Social comparison is rampant, isn't it? We look at others, their highlight reels on social media, their perceived successes, their relationships, their possessions, and we instantly measure ourselves against them, and usually we come up short. Because we're comparing their polished external facade to our messy, complex, often anxious internal reality. It's an apples to orangutans comparison, really, and it breeds insecurity, envy, and a perpetual feeling of not being enough. Why do we crave validation so much? We are social creatures. We are wired for connection, for belonging. It's a survival instinct, etched deep in our primate brains. Historically, being accepted by the tribe was essential for survival. Now, the tribe feels a lot bigger and louder, and the markers of belonging feel like they're constantly changing. We seek affirmation from others because it feels good. It scratches that ancient itch for acceptance. But when it becomes our primary source of feeling worthy, we give away our power. We become dependent on the approval of others, whose opinions are constantly shifting, often uninformed, and frankly, none of our business in the first place. Building internal validation is key. It's about building self-trust, self-compassion, and self-respect. It's about knowing your values and living by them, regardless of what others think. It's about recognizing your own worth, not because you're perfect or universally liked, but simply because you exist. You are inherently worthy, simply by being a conscious, complex human navigating this bizarre experience. Period. Full stop. There is nothing you need to do or achieve or prove to earn your worthiness. It's not conditional. It's not tied to your performance or your social media likes or your relationship status or your bank balance. It just is. And cultivating that deep knowing is a lifelong practice. It's challenging the ingrained beliefs that tell you otherwise. It's actively choosing self-acceptance over self-criticism. It involves setting boundaries too, doesn't it? Boundaries with others and boundaries with yourself. Boundaries are not about being mean or shutting people out. They are about protecting your energy, your time, and your emotional well-being. They are about clearly communicating what is okay and what is not okay for you. It's okay to say no. It's okay to prioritize your own needs. It's okay to step back from relationships or situations that consistently drain or disrespect you. This is not selfish. It is self-preservation. And paradoxically, when you have healthy boundaries, you can show up more fully and authentically in your relationships because you're not constantly resenting or feeling exploited. It's about respecting yourself enough to ask for what you need and to decline what doesn't serve you. This brings us to the idea of agency, of actively shaping your life, even in small ways. Change can feel daunting, right? Like this massive mountain you have to climb. And often we get stuck at the base, overwhelmed by the sheer scale of it. This is where the power of small, consistent actions comes in. Think of building habits. Habits aren't about monumental willpower surges. They are about tiny behaviors performed repeatedly, preferably linked to an existing cue. You want to read more? Don't aim for an hour a day. Aim for 5 minutes after you brush your teeth. You want to exercise more? Don't plan a marathon. Decide to do 5 push-ups every time you boil the kettle. The key is to make the habit so small, so easy, that it feels almost ridiculous not to do it. The goal in the beginning isn't the outcome. It's building the identity of someone who does that thing. You're not trying to become a marathon runner overnight. You're trying to become a person who moves their body consistently. You're not trying to write a novel tomorrow. You're trying to become a person who writes every day, even just a few sentences. The consistency builds momentum. The small wins build confidence, and over time, these tiny, seemingly insignificant actions compound into significant results. This isn't about striving for perfection. It's about striving for progress, one small step at a time. It requires discipline, yes, but maybe we've misunderstood discipline. It's not about harsh self-punishment or grim willpower. It's about choosing what you want most over what you want right now. It's aligning your daily actions with your deeper values and goals, even when you don't feel like it. It's doing the uncomfortable thing now for the longer-term gain. And you can build discipline like a muscle. Start small. Consistently follow through on tiny commitments you make to yourself. When you say you're going to do something, do it. Even if it's just 5 push-ups, or 1 paragraph written, or 5 minutes of mindful breathing. Every time you follow through on a small promise to yourself, you build self-trust. You strengthen that discipline muscle. And as you do that, you become more capable of tackling bigger challenges. But let's be real, you will stumble. You will miss a day. You will revert to old patterns. This is not failure. This is normal. This is part of the process. The key is not to let a stumble become a complete derailment. If you miss a day, don't throw the whole week away. Just get back on track the next day. Practice self-compassion instead of self-criticism. Berating yourself for a slip-up is counterproductive. It erodes your motivation and self-trust. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a friend. Acknowledge the slip, learn from it if there's a lesson there, and simply begin again. This resilience, this ability to bounce back, is more important than never falling in the first place. This journey of self-improvement or self-understanding, or whatever you want to call it, isn't linear. It's not A to B to C, it's more like a spiral. You revisit similar themes, but hopefully with a little more awareness and a little more wisdom each time. There will be plateaus. There will be regressions. There will be times when you feel like you're not making any progress at all. That's okay. Trust the process. Focus on the consistency of the effort, not just the immediate results. Sometimes the biggest shifts are happening beneath the surface, invisible until much later. Let's talk about something a bit heavier for a moment: failure and rejection. Because these are inevitable parts of life, aren't they? No one goes through life without experiencing them. And how we deal with them makes a huge difference. Often, we internalize failure and rejection, making it mean something fundamental about who we are. I failed that test, therefore I'm stupid. They rejected my idea, therefore I'm not creative. That relationship ended, therefore I'm unlovable. These are dangerous interpretations. Failure is an event, not an identity. Rejection is an outcome, often based on factors completely unrelated to your worth, not a definitive judgment on your inherent value. Failure provides information. It shows you what didn't work. It's feedback. Thomas Edison famously said he didn't fail 10,000 times. He just found 10,000 ways that wouldn't work. That's a powerful reframe. Failure is a crucial part of learning and growth. If you're not failing sometimes, you're probably not pushing yourself hard enough. You're staying too safely within your comfort zone. True growth happens when you venture into the unknown, where failure is a distinct possibility, and every failure equips you with lessons, with experience, with resilience you wouldn't otherwise have. Rejection, that stings, whether it's romantic, professional, or social. It's okay to feel the sting. Acknowledge the pain, but then analyze it rationally. Why did it happen? Was it truly about you? Was it about fit? Was it about circumstance? Most of the time, it's not the fundamental indictment you fear, and every rejection gets you one step closer to an acceptance, to a place where you truly belong or truly fit. It's about perspective. Can you see rejection as redirection, as an opportunity to learn and recalibrate, or will you let it crush you? The narrative we tell ourselves about these events is everything. Are you someone who crumbles at the first sign of adversity? Or are you someone who sees challenges as opportunities to learn and strengthen? This isn't about positive thinking to the point of delusion. It's about choosing a constructive interpretation over a destructive one. It's about developing a growth mindset, the belief that your abilities and intelligence are not fixed, but can be developed through effort and learning. People with a fixed mindset avoid challenges. They see failure as proof of their limitations. People with a growth mindset embrace challenges. They see failure as a temporary setback and a chance to improve. Which narrative empowers you more? Let's touch on the topic of time, and specifically procrastination. Why do we do that? Why do we put off the things we know we should do, often until the very last stressful minute? It's complex, but often it comes down to managing uncomfortable emotions. Procrastination isn't necessarily laziness. It's often a way of avoiding the feelings associated with a task: anxiety, fear of failure, boredom, overwhelm. We trade long-term well-being for short-term relief. The little dopamine hit of doing something easy or distracting feels better in the moment than facing the difficult task. But then the guilt, the stress, the shame piles up later. How to combat it? First, recognize it's about managing your emotional state, not your time. Try to understand what emotion you're avoiding. Fear. Break the task down into tiny, non-threatening steps. Overwhelmed. Again, break it down. Focus only on the first tiny step. Boredom. Try the 2-minute rule. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. If it takes longer, just commit to starting it for 2 minutes. The goal is simply to begin. Momentum is a powerful force. Often, the hardest part is just getting started. Also, lower your standards for starting. Don't expect your first draft to be perfect. Don't expect your workout to be your best ever. Just begin imperfectly. The act of starting often breaks the spell of procrastination, and schedule not just the work, but also the breaks and rewards. Make progress feel less like a relentless grind and more like a series of achievable steps with built-in relief. Another thing that ties into managing our inner world is the idea of simplifying. We live in a world of constant stimulation, constant choice, constant pressure to have more, do more, be more. It's exhausting, isn't it? Decluttering your physical space can often declutter your mental space. Getting rid of things you don't need creates clarity. The same applies to your commitments, your digital life, your relationships. Are you saying yes to things out of obligation or fear of missing out, FOMO, even when they drain you? Simplifying isn't about living in an empty white room or giving up everything. It's about consciously choosing what adds value to your life and letting go of what doesn't. It's about being intentional with your time, your energy, your resources. It's recognizing that more isn't always better. Sometimes less is more liberating. Less stuff means less to organize, clean, worry about. Less commitments mean more focused energy for the things that truly matter. Less noise means more space for clear thought and genuine connection. This idea resonates with the philosophy of minimalism, which is about maximizing what you value and minimizing everything else. It's a tool to help you live a more meaningful life, not a rigid set of rules about how little you can own. It's about conscious consumption, buying things with intention and considering their impact. It's about valuing experiences over possessions. It's about creating space, physical, mental, and emotional space, for what's truly important. What could you let go of today that would create a little bit more space in your life? Let's talk about joy. Pure, simple joy. Sometimes, in the pursuit of goals and the wrestling with problems, we forget to just enjoy being. Where do you find moments of simple pleasure? Is it in the first sip of a hot drink in the morning, the feeling of sunshine on your skin, the sound of rain, the laughter of a friend, a perfectly ripe piece of fruit? These tiny moments are the building blocks of a joyful life. They are not insignificant. They are the substance. The Epicureans, an ancient Greek school of philosophy, actually focused on pleasure as the highest good, but their definition of pleasure wasn't just about hedonistic indulgence. It was often about the absence of pain and fear, ataraxia and aponia. The peace that comes from living a simple life, cultivating friendships, and engaging in intellectual pursuits. It was about finding calm satisfaction, not constant thrilling excitement. Cultivating gratitude is another powerful practice. It shifts your focus from what's lacking to what you already have. Even in difficult circumstances, there are usually things to be grateful for, however small. Your health, even if not perfect, the roof over your head, access to clean water, a single friendship, the ability to read these words, keeping a gratitude journal, even jotting down 3 things each day, can fundamentally alter your perspective over time. It trains your brain to look for the good, to appreciate the simple blessings, and it fosters a sense of contentment that isn't dependent on external circumstances. How does creativity fit into all this? Whether you identify as an artist or not, creativity is essential to a fulfilling life. It's about bringing something new into existence, solving a problem in a novel way, expressing yourself, building something, baking something, planting something. We are innately creative beings. Don't stifle that. Even small acts of creativity, arranging your living space differently, choosing an interesting route for your walk, experimenting with a new recipe, awakens something vital within you. Creativity is not about perfection. It's about expression. It's about play. Give yourself permission to create, even if it's messy or doesn't seem good. It's food for the soul. Let's swing back to something foundational, the concept of consciousness itself. The fact that that you can think, feel, perceive the world. It's mind-boggling, isn't it? We spend so much time focused on the content of our thoughts and feelings that we rarely stop to marvel at the sheer fact of experiencing them. This ties back to mindfulness and the idea of the observer. There's the content of your experience, the worries, the plans, the sensations. And then there's the pure awareness, the conscious you that is aware of all that. Recognizing that awareness can be a powerful anchor. It's always there, beneath the swirling surface of thoughts and emotions. Some philosophical traditions view this pure awareness as your fundamental nature. Not the changing thoughts, or the temporary feelings, or the roles you play, but the underlying capacity to be aware. Exploring this question, who is the I that is experiencing this, can lead to profound insights and a different kind of peace. It's not about losing your personality or identity, but about realizing there's a deeper foundation to your being than just the constantly shifting contents of your mind. Speaking of change and identity, we are not fixed entities. The person you were 5 years ago, or even 5 months ago, is not exactly the person you are today. We are constantly evolving. Our cells regenerate, our experiences shape us, our understanding grows, hopefully. Embracing this fluidity can be liberating. You're not trapped by who you've been. You have the capacity to learn, to change, to grow into a different version of yourself. The mistakes of the past are lessons, not sentences. Your potential is not limited by your history. This doesn't mean denying the past or refusing responsibility, but recognizing that your future is an unwritten page, influenced by your present actions and choices. The relationships we have, oh man, they are complex and vital. Human connection is as necessary as food and water for our well-being. We crave belonging, understanding, love. But relationships, like everything else, take work. They require empathy, communication, forgiveness of others and of yourself. Healthy relationships are a two-way street, a balance of giving and receiving. It's okay to have boundaries, as we discussed. It's okay for relationships to change. It's okay to outgrow relationships that are no longer healthy or serving you, though that can be painful. Cultivating strong, healthy relationships means being present with the people you care about. Listening, truly listening, without just waiting for your turn to speak. Showing up when it's hard. Offering support without judgment. Being vulnerable enough to let others see the real you, with your flaws and imperfections. And also, importantly, surrounding yourself with people who lift you up, who respect you, who celebrate your successes and support you through your struggles. The quality of your relationships has a huge impact on your overall happiness and resilience. And what about money? Ah, yes, the ever-present factor. It causes so much stress and anxiety for so many of us, while the pursuit of wealth for its own sake often proves to be an empty goal. Financial security can reduce a huge amount of stress and open up opportunities. Financial well-being isn't just about having a lot of money. It's about having a healthy relationship with money. It's about understanding where your money goes, living within your means, saving for the future, and making conscious choices about how you spend and invest it. It's not glamorous, but learning basic financial literacy is a powerful act of self-care and future-proofing. Money is a tool. It can be used for good, for security, for experiences, or it can be a source of endless striving and comparison. Your mindset around money matters just as much as the numbers in your bank account. What about physical health? We've talked a lot about the mind, but the body and mind are deeply interconnected. How you treat your physical self impacts your mental and emotional state. Eating nourishing food, moving your body regularly, getting enough sleep, these aren't optional extras. They are foundational pillars of well-being. You can have all the philosophical insights and self-improvement techniques in the world, but if you're running on empty, living on junk food, and 3 hours of sleep, everything feels harder. Your physical vitality supports your mental and emotional resilience. Small, consistent efforts in these areas yield massive returns over time. It's about sustainability, not intensity. Can you incorporate a 20-minute walk into your day? Can you swap one sugary drink for water? Can you prioritize getting to bed 30 minutes earlier? Again, think small, consistent steps. The concept of ikigai from Japanese culture offers an interesting perspective on finding fulfillment. It's often translated as a reason for being. It's not about one thing, but the intersection of 4 things: what you love, what you are good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. Finding the overlap in these areas can lead to a deep sense of purpose and flow, even if you can't find something that hits all 4 points in one go. Consciously thinking about each area can provide valuable insight and direction for your life. What do you truly love doing? What skills do you possess, or could you develop? What problems do you see in the world that you feel moved to address? How can you build financial stability while doing something aligned with your values? Let's address boredom. It's a strange thing, isn't it? In a world overflowing with information and entertainment, we still get bored. Maybe boredom is actually a signal that we're not truly engaged with what we're doing, a signal that our minds are seeking novelty or meaning. Instead of immediately reaching for a distraction when boredom strikes, what if you leaned into it? What if you asked yourself what the boredom is trying to tell you? Is it a sign you need to switch tasks, that you're not intellectually stimulated, that you're avoiding a more challenging task? Sometimes, sitting with boredom can spark creativity or motivate you to finally start that thing you've been putting off. It's uncomfortable, sure, but sometimes discomfort is the catalyst for growth. The universe, the cosmos, whatever you want to call it, we exist on a tiny blue dot in an unimaginably vast expanse. Thinking about this can be humbling. It can also be terrifying. But maybe, just maybe, it can be liberating. Our problems can seem huge and all-consuming in our own bubble. Stepping back and contemplating the scale of existence can put things into perspective. Does that thing you're worrying about really matter in the grand scheme? Maybe, maybe not. But acknowledging the vastness also highlights the preciousness and improbability of our own consciousness, our own lives, our own brief flicker of existence. Doesn't that make the everyday moments, the connections, the experiences, even more significant? Existentialism, in a simplified form, deals with this feeling of being cast into existence without inherent meaning. It can sound bleak, right? We're free, yes, but freedom comes with the heavy burden of responsibility. If there's no preordained plan or purpose, we have to create our own. This is terrifying to some, but empowering to others. It means your life isn't meaningless. Its meaning is whatever you decide to give it. It's built through your choices, your values, your actions. You are the author, the artist, the architect of your own life's meaning. That's an immense responsibility, but also an incredible opportunity. It frees you from the need to search for a prescribed path and allows you to forge your own. But with that freedom comes responsibility. As we said, we are responsible for our choices, even the choice not to choose. This can lead to angst, that deep feeling of unease when confronted with our freedom and the lack of external guidance. Acceptance of this angst, recognizing it as an inherent part of being human, can be liberating. It's okay to feel uncertain. It's okay to not have all the answers. The act of wrestling with these questions, of consciously trying to live an authentic life in the face of uncertainty, that is the meaningful journey, the nature of truth itself. How do we know what is real? This is a core philosophical question. Our understanding of the world is filtered through our senses, our brains, our biases, our experiences. What you perceive as truth might be different from what someone else perceives. This isn't relativism to the point where nothing matters, but an acknowledgement of the subjectivity of human experience. Recognizing this can foster empathy and understanding in dealing with others. Their perspective, while different from yours, is valid for them. It encourages curiosity rather than judgment. Why do they see it that way, instead of they are wrong and I am right? Humility in our own certainty can open us up to learning and growth. It's also about recognizing our biases, the unconscious filters that shape how we see the world and make decisions. Confirmation bias, for example, the tendency to seek out and interpret information that confirms our existing beliefs. We are all susceptible to these. Awareness is the first step towards mitigating their influence. Can you actively seek out perspectives that challenge your own? Can you question your assumptions? Can you be open to changing your mind when presented with new information? Intellectual humility is a strength, not a weakness. It allows you to continually learn and adapt. Speaking of adaptation, life is in constant flux. Heraclitus, another ancient philosopher, said change is the only constant. Everything flows, everything is changing. Rivers, people, situations, feelings. Resisting this fundamental truth often leads to suffering. We want things to stay the same when they are good, and we desperately want them to change when they are bad. But life just keeps moving. Learning to flow with the change, to adapt, to be flexible, is a vital skill. Like a reed in the wind, it bends, but doesn't break. How can you cultivate greater flexibility and adaptability in your own life? It often involves letting go. Letting go of rigid expectations, of past grievances, of identities that no longer fit, of control you never truly had. Letting go can feel like a loss, like death even, but it's also necessary for new life, new possibilities to emerge. Can you practice the art of conscious letting go? Perhaps by writing down something you're holding onto and symbolically releasing it, or by dedicating a meditation practice to cultivating the feeling of release. We touched on empathy briefly, but it's worth revisiting. The ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. It's different from sympathy, which is feeling for someone. Empathy is feeling with them. It's stepping into their shoes, even if you disagree with them. Empathy is a powerful bridge between people. It disarms conflict, builds trust, and deepens connection. How can you cultivate more empathy? By actively listening, by asking questions and genuinely seeking to understand, by practicing compassion, which is empathy plus the desire to alleviate suffering. Forgiveness, that's a tough one sometimes. Forgiving others who have wronged you. Forgiving yourself for your mistakes. Forgiveness is often misunderstood as condoning bad behavior or forgetting what happened. It's neither. It's about releasing yourself from the burden of resentment, anger, and pain. Holding on to those emotions only harms you, not the other person or the past version of yourself. Forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself. It's choosing to move forward, to release the emotional anchor that keeps you tied to the past. It's not always easy, and sometimes it's a process that takes time and effort. It's okay if it's hard, but the freedom that comes from it is immeasurable. The idea of courage is essential on this journey, not the absence of fear, but action in the face of fear. Courage to be vulnerable, courage to set boundaries, courage to pursue a dream, courage to admit when you're wrong, courage to keep going when you feel like giving up. We often think of courage in dramatic acts, but most courage is quiet. It's the courage to show up authentically. It's the courage to have difficult conversations. It's the courage to face your own shadow side, your insecurities, your fears. Small acts of courage, performed consistently, build a strong and resilient spirit. Think about intuition. That gut feeling, that inner knowing that seems to bypass rational thought. In our overly analytical, logical world, we often dismiss intuition. But paying attention to your intuition can be incredibly valuable. It's not mystical woo-woo. It's often your brain quickly processing vast amounts of information below your conscious awareness, drawing on past experiences and patterns. It's a form of intelligence. Learn to listen to that quiet voice inside. It won't always be right, but it often has wisdom to offer that your logical mind might miss. Let's consider the concept of resilience again. It's not about being immune to hardship, but about the ability to recover from it, to bounce back. What builds resilience? A strong support system, a sense of purpose, the ability to regulate your emotions. Optimism, not naive, but realistic, the belief that challenges are temporary and solvable. Self-compassion, and importantly, the perspective that suffering is a part of life, not a sign that you're being singled out or that something is fundamentally wrong with you. Adversity is a teacher. It reveals your strengths, tests your limits, and often shows you what you are truly capable of. Think about rest and recovery. In our productivity-obsessed culture, rest is often seen as lazy or unproductive. This is a dangerous myth. Rest is not the opposite of productivity. It is essential for sustained productivity and well-being. Your body and mind need time to recover, to recharge, to integrate. Burnout is not a badge of honor. It's a sign that you've pushed too hard for too long. Prioritizing rest, adequate sleep, breaks throughout the day, time off, is an investment in your long-term capacity and creativity. It's permission to simply be without constantly doing. The concept of flow state, as described by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. That feeling of being completely absorbed and focused on an activity, where time seems to disappear, and the activity itself is intrinsically rewarding. This often happens when there's a balance between the challenge of a task and your skills. If the challenge is too low, you get bored. If it's too high, you get anxious. Finding activities that put you in flow, whether it's playing a musical instrument, writing, painting, gardening, coding, playing a sport, is incredibly fulfilling. Seek out these opportunities for deep engagement. They are moments of pure, effortless being. What about letting go of the need for certainty? We crave certainty, don't we? We want to know what's going to happen, how things will turn out, that everything will be okay. But life rarely offers us that kind of guarantee. Uncertainty is the default state. Learning to tolerate ambiguity, to make peace with not knowing, is a vital skill. It allows you to act even when you don't have all the information, to embrace opportunities that involve risk, to navigate the inherent unpredictability of life with greater calm. This connects back to controlling your reaction. You can't control the uncertainty of the future, but you can control your mindset in facing it. The power of small, consistent acts isn't just for habit building, it's for building momentum in any area of life. Want to write a book? Write a paragraph a day. Want to learn a language? Learn 5 new words a day. Want to build a business? Make one small step each day. A phone call, an email, a piece of research. It's the cumulative effect that creates change. Don't underestimate the power of tiny efforts repeated consistently. They are how mountains are moved. We haven't explicitly talked about failure and courage together enough, I feel. Because the intersection of the two is where growth explodes. Every successful person you admire has failed countless times. They learned from it, picked themselves up, and kept going. Failure is not a dead end. It's a detour, a lesson, an opportunity to pivot. Courage is the willingness to take that detour, to integrate that lesson, to make that pivot, even though it's scary and uncomfortable. Embrace the possibility of failure, because without it, you won't experience true growth or achieve anything truly significant. Let's think about death. A heavy topic, maybe, but thinking about our mortality, often called practicing memento mori, remember you will die in some philosophies like Stoicism, isn't meant to be morbid. It's meant to be a powerful reminder of the preciousness of life and the finite nature of our time here. If you knew you only had a limited time left, how would that change what you prioritize? What trivial worries would fall away? What important things would you finally make time for? Contemplating mortality can clarify your values and motivate you to live more fully, more authentically, with greater urgency for the things that truly matter. It shifts your perspective from endless procrastination to intentional action. Think about your legacy. Not necessarily a grand monument, but the impact you have on the people around you, on the world. What values do you want to embody? What positive ripple effects do you want to create through your actions? Thinking about this can provide a sense of purpose and guide your choices, encouraging you to live a life aligned with your deepest principles. In moments of difficulty, remember this: you have survived everything you have faced so far. Every challenge, every heartbreak, every setback. You have an inner strength, a resilience you may not even fully recognize. Draw upon that. You are more capable than you think. Trust in your ability to navigate whatever comes next. The future remains unwritten. It is a realm of possibility. While you can't control everything that happens, you have tremendous power in shaping your experience of it. By focusing on what you can control, your mindset, your effort, your values, your actions, you empower yourself to build a life that is meaningful, resilient, and fulfilling on your own terms. It won't be perfect. It will be messy. There will be ups and downs, but it will be yours. So, what are you doing? You're right here, right now, contemplating these ideas. That's a start. It's always a start. The journey of self-discovery and intentional living is lifelong. There's no finish line, no certificate, just the ongoing process of learning, adapting, growing, and showing up. Show up for the difficult conversations with yourself. Show up for the small habits. Show up for the moments of quiet joy. Show up for the people you care about. And show up, perhaps most importantly, with kindness and compassion for the complex, messy, beautiful human being that you are. Remember to breathe. Inhale courage. Exhale doubt. You've got this, one small step at a time. Be present. Be kind to yourself. Keep learning. Keep growing. The exploration of who you are and what you're capable of, it's just beginning. And it's the most worthwhile adventure there is. Keep going. You're doing better than you think. Just keep going. Be well.